Did you see him go from the Lakers?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm a fan, but I don't mince words either. I mean, I think this should be his last year here.
Not in the NBA, just here.
No, just here.
Okay.
I really.
You don't got to go home, but you got to go.
It's Morris Day. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here.
Byron Scott came out and said it. No sugarcoating, no holding back, no diplomatic language. He said LeBron James should not be on the Los Angeles Lakers anymore. And when a man like Byron Scott says something like that, you have to stop and really think about what that means. This is not just some random person talking. This is not some sports analyst sitting behind a desk who never played a single minute in the NBA. This is Byron Scott. This is a man who played 11 years as a Los Angeles Laker. This is a man who was part of the Showtime Lakers, one of the greatest dynasties in the history of professional basketball. This is a man who has purple and gold running through his veins, and he looked directly into a camera on a podcast and said that LeBron James should leave the Lakers. He said, and I want you to really hear this clearly, he said, "You don't got to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here." That is one of the strongest things you can say about somebody. That is not a soft statement. That is not a gentle nudge. That is Byron Scott drawing a line in the sand and saying enough is enough. So today, we are going to break this down completely. We are going to talk about everything that led to this moment. We are going to talk about what Byron Scott actually said, why he said it, and what it really means for LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers going forward. Because this is bigger than just one podcast clip. This is a representation of how the old guard of the Lakers franchise feels about what has been happening in Los Angeles for the past several years. And trust me, when you really sit down and think about all of it together, it paints a very clear picture. Let's start by talking about who Byron Scott is, because context matters here. Byron Scott is not a man who speaks carelessly. He is not the kind of person who just runs his mouth for attention or to get a reaction. He played in the NBA for 14 seasons, and 11 of those seasons were with the Los Angeles Lakers. He was part of 3 championship teams with the Lakers in 1985, 1987, and 1988. He played alongside Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and James Worthy. He was part of one of the most celebrated and beloved eras in NBA history. When people talk about Showtime Lakers basketball, Byron Scott is right there in the middle of that conversation. He is not on the outside looking in. He is not somebody who just watched from a distance. He was in the locker room. He was on the court. He was in the battles. He knows exactly what it means to be a Los Angeles Laker at the highest level. And on top of his playing career, he also came back and coached the Lakers. So he understands the organization from every angle, as a player, as a coach, and as somebody who is still deeply connected to the people who built that franchise into what it became. He is still close with Magic Johnson. He is still close with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He is still close with James Worthy. These guys stay in contact. They talk. They share their thoughts and feelings about what is happening with the team they love. So when Byron Scott speaks, understand that he is not just speaking for himself. He is speaking as a representative of a generation of Lakers players who feel a certain way about what they are seeing right now. Now let's get into the actual conversation that took place on the podcast. Byron Scott was asked directly whether he is ready to see LeBron James leave the Lakers, and his answer was not complicated. He said, yeah, just like that, simple and clear. And then he went on to explain.
He said he thinks this should be LeBron's last year in Los Angeles, and he made sure to clarify that he is not saying LeBron should retire from the NBA. He is saying LeBron should leave the Lakers specifically. He is saying that the relationship between LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers has run its course, and it is time for both sides to move on. And what makes this even more powerful is the way he said it. You could tell he was choosing his words carefully. You could tell he was holding back just a little bit. He even said himself that he does not mince words, and yet you could see that he did not want to go completely off and say everything that was on his mind. He was measured. He was thoughtful, but through all of that measured and thoughtful language, the message was crystal clear. Get out. It is time to go. This chapter is over. Before the LeBron question even came up, Byron Scott was already talking about something that really set the tone for the whole conversation. LeBron James had recently made a comment saying that it is harder to play in today's NBA than it was back in his day, and Byron Scott absolutely could not let that go without responding. He said that statement was laughable. And honestly, when you think about it from the perspective of someone who played in the 1980s, you completely understand why he felt that way. Think about what the NBA looked like in the 1980s. Think about the physical nature of that game. The Los Angeles Lakers and the Boston Celtics were beating each other up every single playoff run. The Detroit Pistons had a defensive system called the Jordan Rules that was basically designed to hurt people. Chick Hearn, the legendary Lakers announcer, used to say, "No blood, no foul." Players would get knocked to the ground, get up, walk to the free throw line, make their shots, and keep playing. Nobody was calling flagrant fouls every time someone got bumped. Nobody was getting ejected for hard fouls. It was just basketball. Physical, tough, demanding, brutal basketball. Byron Scott also made an excellent point about the scoring and the pace of the game. People like to act as if the modern NBA is this incredibly fast and athletic product that the old NBA could never match. But Byron Scott pointed out that during his era, there were 12 to 15 teams averaging over 100 points per game. The pace was fast, the basketball was good, and on top of that, the players were playing 94 feet. They were getting the ball and pushing it up the full court. Everything was built around getting the ball inside and then kicking it back out. Today's game is built around shooting threes, and the half-court sets are designed around 60 feet of the court. So the idea that today's players are working harder or running more is simply not accurate when you look at the actual numbers. And Byron Scott said it perfectly. He said it was laughable coming from one of the greatest players to ever play the game to make a statement like that. And that word, laughable, tells you everything about how Byron Scott and the old guard of the NBA view some of the narratives that LeBron and his camp try to push. Now, here is something that I think is really important to understand about this whole situation. When Byron Scott makes a statement like this, it does not exist in a vacuum. It does not come out of nowhere. James Worthy, another Lakers legend, another championship player, another Showtime-era icon, also made a very strong statement not long ago.
After a Lakers loss, Worthy said that the current Lakers team is disrespecting the Lakers jersey. He said the players are not living up to the standards that the Lakers uniform represents, and he made it clear that this applies to all the big-name players on the team, including Luka Doncic and including LeBron James. So now you have two of the most celebrated players from the greatest era of Lakers basketball both coming out publicly and saying that the current state of the team is embarrassing. That is not a coincidence. That is not two guys independently having the same random opinion. These guys talk to each other. They are connected. They share their thoughts. And the fact that both of them are publicly expressing frustration with LeBron James tells you that this feeling is widespread among the old Lakers family. And think about Magic Johnson for a second. Magic is the ultimate Lakers legend. He is the face of Showtime. He is the person most associated with the greatness of that franchise. Magic has also had a complicated relationship with LeBron and the Lakers organization. There were moments where Magic was visibly frustrated with the direction things were going. So when you add all of this together, the picture becomes very clear. The old guard of the Los Angeles Lakers is not happy with what LeBron James has brought to the franchise, and they want to change. Let's talk about the specifics of what frustrates these guys about LeBron, because it is not just one thing. It is a collection of things that have built up over the years and have created this feeling that LeBron James is not the right fit for what the Lakers are supposed to represent. The first thing is the load management. LeBron James has been resting games throughout his career in Los Angeles. And look, nobody is saying that at his age and after everything his body has been through, he should not take care of himself. That is not the argument. The argument is about what the Lakers have historically stood for and what it means to pull on that jersey. Kobe Bryant played through everything. He played through injuries that would have ended other players' careers.
There are photographs of Kobe sitting on the bench completely covered in ice packs, from his shoulders all the way down to his knees, and he still played. The most famous example, of course, is when Kobe tore his Achilles tendon in a game. He walked himself to the free throw line. Nobody helped him. He shot 2 free throws, made both of them, and then walked off the court on his own. That is the standard that the old-school Lakers set. That is the expectation that comes with wearing that uniform. LeBron James missing games for load management, in the eyes of players like Byron Scott and James Worthy, is a betrayal of that standard. It tells the fans, it tells the organization, and it tells the league that being a Laker is not the most important thing to him. And for guys who bled for that jersey, who would have never dreamed of sitting out a game unless they physically could not walk, that is a deeply personal insult. The second thing is the circus that seems to follow LeBron everywhere he goes, and this is a big one. LeBron James is the most media-savvy player in NBA history. He understands public relations better than almost any athlete who has ever lived. He knows how to control narratives. He knows how to use the media. He has people who work for him whose job is essentially to manage his image and push stories in directions that benefit him. And in Hollywood, in Los Angeles, in the entertainment capital of the world, that kind of approach can get very messy very quickly. There have been long-running discussions about LeBron's influence over Lakers roster decisions. There have been stories about players being brought in or pushed out based on what LeBron wanted. There have been discussions about his son, Bronny James, being drafted by the Lakers, which many people felt was a situation driven more by LeBron's personal desires than what was actually best for the franchise. All of these things contribute to this idea.
They are LeBron's team, managed by LeBron's interests, built around LeBron's legacy, and the actual franchise, with all its history and tradition, has become secondary. For Byron Scott and the rest of the Showtime generation, that is unacceptable. The Lakers are bigger than any one player. The Lakers were bigger than Magic Johnson. The Lakers were bigger than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The Lakers were bigger than Kobe Bryant. And the Lakers are certainly bigger than LeBron James. But the way things have operated in recent years, it has not always felt that way, and that bothers the old guard deeply. Then there's the in-season tournament situation, and this one really gets people going. When the Lakers won the NBA's in-season tournament, LeBron James went absolutely crazy in the locker room. He was popping champagne. He had goggles on his eyes. He was spraying champagne like the team had just won the NBA championship. And people looked at that and thought, what is happening here? This is an in-season tournament. This is not the finals. This is not even a playoff series. This is a mid-season competition that was brand new to the league. And LeBron James is celebrating like he just won the most important thing in basketball. And then, to make everything worse, the Lakers actually raised a banner for winning that in-season tournament. They put a banner in the arena. And Kobe Bryant had previously said very clearly that the only things worth raising banners for are championship banners. That is it. Nothing else. Just championships. And here is the Lakers organization raising a banner for an in-season tournament trophy, while the franchise has not won a real championship since 2020, which was played in a bubble during a pandemic. For the old Lakers, for Byron Scott and James Worthy and everyone who came up through that championship culture, watching LeBron celebrate an in-season tournament like it was the greatest achievement of his career was deeply embarrassing. It showed a lowering of standards. It showed that maybe the bar had been brought down to a level where just winning something, anything, was enough to celebrate like you conquered the world. And that is not what the Lakers are supposed to be about. Now let me talk about the comparison between LeBron and Kobe, because it is unavoidable in this conversation. Kobe Bryant is still the most beloved player in Lakers history for most Los Angeles fans. Not Magic Johnson, not Kareem, not Jerry West, not any of the Showtime guys. Kobe. And the reason for that is very simple. Kobe gave everything he had to the Los Angeles Lakers, every single day, every single game, every single practice. He held himself to an impossible standard, and he demanded that everyone around him do the same. He was obsessed with winning championships, not in-season tournaments, not regular season milestones, championships. That was the only thing that mattered to him. And the culture that Kobe created in Los Angeles, the standard that he set, the expectation that every player who put on that jersey should be willing to die for it on the court, that is what the old Lakers want to see return to the franchise. They do not want to see champagne celebrations for participation trophies. They do not want to see load management. They do not want to see media manipulation and front office politics. They want to see a player who loves the Lakers more than he loves himself. And in their eyes, LeBron James has never been that player. Now, to be fair, and it is important to be balanced here, LeBron James has done some remarkable things as a Laker. He did bring the franchise its first championship in a decade in 2020. That title was won in the NBA bubble during the pandemic, and some people want to discount it because of the circumstances. But a championship is a championship, and LeBron was the best player on that team. He also became the all-time leading scorer in NBA history while wearing a Lakers uniform, which is one of the most significant individual achievements in the history of the sport.
These are real accomplishments, and they deserve to be acknowledged. But here is the thing. The old Lakers are not disputing that LeBron is a great basketball player. Byron Scott himself said multiple times in that podcast clip that he is a big LeBron fan. He does not think LeBron is the greatest of all time, but he respects his game. The issue is not about his basketball ability. The issue is about his fit with the Lakers' culture, his approach to the franchise, and what the team has looked like under his leadership in recent years. And on those specific points, the argument that Byron Scott is making is very hard to argue against. Look at where the Lakers are right now. The team has been inconsistent. The team has had moments of promise, but has not been able to put together the kind of sustained excellence that the franchise is accustomed to. Luka Doncic came in as a major acquisition, and while he brings elite scoring ability to the table, the defensive side of the ball has been a serious problem. And when you look at the example being set at the top of the roster, when you look at the approach that the veterans are modeling for the younger players, it is not hard to see why a team like this might struggle. James Worthy said the team is disrespecting the Lakers jersey. That is not something a person says lightly. That is a man who loves the Lakers franchise with his whole heart, saying that what he is watching is an embarrassment to everything the team stands for. And when you have multiple legends of the franchise saying the same thing at the same time, you have to take it seriously. Byron Scott ended his comments by saying that after this year, LeBron should move on. Not retire, just move on from the Lakers. And when you think about it from a purely practical standpoint, it actually makes sense for everyone involved. LeBron is at a stage in his career where he might want to go somewhere and have a different kind of experience, whether that is following his son to whatever team Bronny ends up on, or going back to Cleveland for another run, or trying something completely new somewhere else. There are options for him outside of Los Angeles. And the Lakers, for their part, need to figure out who they are going forward. Do they build around Luka Doncic? Do they go in a completely different direction? Do they try to bring in younger talent and rebuild? Whatever the answer is, having clarity on their future without the complication of LeBron's contract, LeBron's business interests, and LeBron's influence over the roster would probably make it easier to chart a clear path forward. What Byron Scott said was brave. It was honest, and it was necessary, because sometimes the people who love something the most are the ones who have to be the loudest voices when that thing is being damaged. Byron Scott loves the Los Angeles Lakers. He always has, and he always will. And because he loves the Lakers that deeply, he is willing to say something that a lot of people might think but are afraid to say out loud. He is willing to risk the criticism and the backlash and the noise because he believes it is the right thing to do for the franchise. And the truth is, he is probably not alone. The old Lakers, the championship-era players, the Showtime generation, they all feel this way. They are watching from the outside, and they are not happy with what they see. And when Byron Scott speaks, he speaks for all of them. So what do you guys think about all of this? Do you agree with Byron Scott? Do you think it is time for LeBron James to move on from the Los Angeles Lakers? Or do you think the criticism is unfair and LeBron deserves to finish his career in LA? Let me know everything you're thinking down in the comments section below. Drop your thoughts, drop your opinions, debate with each other, and let's have a real conversation about this, because it is a big topic and there are a lot of different ways to look at it. If you enjoyed the breakdown today, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss any of the content going forward. Every single comment, every single like, every single subscription helps more than you know. Thank you for watching, thank you for supporting, and I will see you in